This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so yes, anyone, any questions? So we've been doing a couple of templates yesterday. So very firstly, we started with a simple template. We understood how the template syntax is, how the template structure is. We understood what is default value versus allowed values. Then we saw how do you deploy your templates and all that stuff. Then I mean allowed values. Then we did something known as multiple storages manually. We said, okay, fine. If I want to go ahead and create multiple storage accounts, this is the first block. This is the second block. Went ahead, manually deployed route, and finally we came across with a concept called copy index. We said what really copy index is. How do you go ahead pass something known as a copy index function? Sorry, pass something known as a copy index function out here, and how will it really help you on all these things out here as such? So, yes, any questions still here? Anyone? Any questions still here that I can take? Anyone? Any questions that I can take till here? Are we good with, let's say, copy index? Did you all try out copy indexes? Did you all try out this thing out here?
We
There's only
have tried, actually, we have tried in a premium level,
okay.
but it is not changed to standard LRS.
You it will not change to standard LRS if you do a premium. You cannot change something which is let's say in premium to standard and standard to premium. Performance tiers cannot be changed. But standard LRS to standard GRS, standard RA GRS, that's something that you can try. So performance tier is something that you cannot really change out there.
Okay.
Yes, any more questions here? So what I did is that I took a default value. I said this is a storage account base name, and using this particular base name, we created three different storage accounts starting from 0. Then you had 1, then you had 2. Three different storage accounts that got created using this particular base name out here, and we have used something known as a copy index and ARM template. So copy index ARM template, let's go in there again. Is resource iteration, just scroll down, copy limits, and it's now telling what are or how is the, let's say, copy index really works. Then it says, okay, fine, if you implement a copy index something like this using a concatenation function, you're going to get three different storages, 0, 1 and 2. But someone had a question, is that, what if I need, or what if I have three different names? I have three different names of accounts called dev something, QA something, DevOps something, and I want to implement, or I want to create storages not in series. In this particular series, let's say this is ECS2. Let's say I put something like West US, and I say this is, instead of demo, I'll say this is QA storage. Instead of demo, I'll say this is DevOps storage. Three different storage accounts right now. Three different storage accounts right now that I do have. There is no particular pattern in which I can predict their names. So I cannot create a series out of it. I cannot, let's say, go ahead with a series out of it. So I have these three things out here. I want to go ahead and create three different names along with this particular storage account out here as such. So, or I want to create, yes, three different accounts using this particular names as such. So I'll again say control in ARM. I'll start with ARM out here. I'll say ARM exclamation, and let's start with parameters today. I want to declare the storage account names that I have. New parameter, I'll say storage account names. I want to declare all these three names out here right now. Three names that I do have. I want to declare all these three names as a default value. My question to everyone is that if I now have a collection of names, will the data type be string? Yes, no?
No, it should be array.
Array.
Very.
It should be
Array.
array, right? So what I'll do, I'll remove this. I'll say type is no longer a string. I'll say control space. I'm allowed to pass a boolean value, true or false, integer value, number, and also something known as array, secret object, and all that stuff. I'll say it's an array. This is an array with a default value. And again, how do you declare an array in JSON? How do you declare
Square
the
bracket.
array in JSON?
Square
Square
bracket.
brackets.
Square brackets.
So I'll say colon. As in I do a colon, I have a square bracket. I'll say take the square bracket, and after the colon, after the square bracket, I'll just put a comma. Otherwise, the entire thing will say that it's an error and all that stuff. I'll take the three values that I copied in my notepad. Just go back, paste this. Let's get this in place, and let's put things around. This is the first value, comma. This is the second value, comma. This is the third value. Agreed? Three different values in the form of an array. I have three different things in the form of an array right now, and the array is called by something called as what? Storage account names. What I'll do, I don't need functions. I'll remove functions. I'll go down to the resources. I'll say ARM hyphen storage. I have a storage account right now. Now tell me, what should be the name of my storage account? What do you think should be the name of the storage account that I need to use here? Should it be demo?
Parameters.
Should it be QA?
Parameter storage account names.
Parameter storage account name. So yes, let's do that. I'll say parameters, then storage account names. As in when I do this, just scroll down. What is it telling you? It's giving me an error. My entire template is throwing an error out here. What error do you think it is? 24 characters.
Storage
Yes.
account name should be with 3 to 24.
3 to
It should
24.
be
Yes, that's
unique.
right.
Its type is
Should be
string.
unique 3 to 24. Yes, that's right. But I have a unique. I have a 3 to 24. I believe this is unique. I believe this is 3 to 24. But do you think anything else can be going wrong?
The type is string.
Type is string. Exactly. Very, very important. This is what I have. It's telling the template validation failed. The template resource parameter something is not valid. Evaluation result of the expression is a string. Evaluation type is an array. Expected type is what? String. It's telling I'm expecting a string here, but you are ending up passing a data type called array. I cannot take an array. This is something that's a string value. Because if you go back into your ARM template examples, say ARM template documentation, just go into documentation out here, and once you go into the documentation, just go to the references, say template references. Inside this, just look for storage account. Just scroll down all the way, and you would have something called storage account. Let's see, storage account. So storage account out here, and inside this, the name is what? It's a string. You can only pass a string here. You cannot pass an array. Then what should I do? We had a same issue with PowerShell also. When we were creating multiple resource groups or multiple storage accounts at a go, it was just throwing an error telling that the type called system.array cannot be converted into system.string. So what can be done here? What do you think we can do here? Or what did we do, let's say, when we were using something like PowerShell
Uh,
out there?
We were using split operator
We
there.
have to split
We'll have to split
the
that.
names
Yes,
of it.
let's say I split it. After that, what did we do? We iterated over it, some kind of a for or for each loop. So we said that particular array, and then we implied a for each loop on top of it, and then we went ahead and created three different objects out there. So
Yes.
I'll have to do something similar here. Can I implement a for or a for each loop here?
No. Possible.
No, this is ARM. Then what is the equivalent of it? What can I do here?
Copy index.
Copy index, exactly. I have something called copy index, which will act like a for or for each loop. And copy index by default returns a value called 0 if you do not apply the copy index on an array. If you apply this copy index on top of an array, the copy index will start, let's say, copying the objects of this particular array. First time it will take this name, second time it will take this name, third time it will take this name. It will no longer return 0, 1, 2, because at 0 it will have this, at 1 it will have this, at 2 it will have this. So now copy index is behaving like a for loop right now. So what I'm doing is, now I'm saying I'll apply my copy index onto this particular array. This is the entire array. So after the array completes, I'll say copy index. That's it. This is what I'm saying. So I'm applying the copy index. I'm calling the function called copy index out here inside this array. And I'm telling, you know what? Please apply my copy index on top of this particular array. Please make sure that copy index 0 is this, 1 is this, 2 is this one. But I still have the error here. The error is not gone. It's still there. But let's see what the error is now telling me. Let's go there. Click the mouse here. Okay, what is it telling? It's telling the template validation failed. Template resource something in line is not, template function copy index is not expected at this particular location. The function can only be used with the resource with specified copy and etc. What am I missing in my entire template? What do you all think that I'm missing in the entire template out here? Depending upon this particular error, can anyone tell me what am I missing?
Copy.
Don't get
Copy.
repeat the
Colon.
number of
Something.
times.
Exactly.
How many times?
I do not
Count.
have the syntax called copy out here. Whenever you do a copy index, you need this block to be specified. You need this block to be specified to tell you what is the count, how many times the copy has to run, how many times, let's say, or what is the name of the copy function that you're calling. So let me go in here and let me say enter control space, and I'll call something known as a copy condition. I'll say the list whose name is something like storage loop, whose count, how many times this copy index has to run,
Three times.
how many, 3 times. But what if someone again puts here a different name, comes here puts another name? I'll have to increment this to 4 again. I'll have to do that. Instead of which, what I'm now
Default variable.
suggesting is that, yes, instead of which, what I'm now suggesting is that let's not take a static number. If you are giving an array, let's make sure to rely
Yes.
upon the length of that particular array. So what I'm doing, I'm saying count, and yesterday I said count is parameter some different thing out there. Now I'll say count is the length of parameters storage account names. Now I'm telling it's nothing but the length. Length or count will give the same value. Now I'll tell you, okay, fine, 3. So instead of you passing it 3, you're depending upon the length of this particular array. The count now is a dynamic parameter which is taking the length of this particular entire array out here as such. This is how the copy index is now working. So now let's do one thing. Let's come back, and this is where I pass my parameters copy index. I'm iterating over it. I'm saying storage loop. I'm saying the length. I'll just scroll down. I'll say location is east to s2. Location is east to s2. And this is standard LRS. This is standard. And I'll remove the tags. I don't need the tags right now. And my template is ready. So I'll just save this out as copy index2.json. .json. So I'll say this is .json file. I'll save this out. So I now have something called copy index 2.json file that I do have right now. So let's go into the Azure portal. Let's say deploy a custom template. And once I'm inside deploy custom template, I'll say build your own template, load the file. I'll say copy index 2.json. I'll save this out right now. Create a new resource group called copy storage. Okay. I'll use the storage location, or sorry, I'll use the resource group location as something like EastUS2. And this is how the value is now being passed. Storage names is being passed as a comma separated value within a JSON bracket. This is called a JSON object. This entire thing is now called as a JSON object out here. This is the input object. This is the input JSON object that I do have. So now I'll say review and create this out. Now it's running the final validation to see whether the names are unique, to see whether all the properties that are passed are good or fine, good or not. And then if everything is good, I'll say validation passed. I'll say create. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating those 3 storage accounts with 3 different names using one template function and just one block of my code. I'm not writing 3 different things out here. I'm not writing, let's say, 3 different things out here as such. Now I'm just going ahead and creating all these things in, let's say, this particular. So now if you look at this, it's creating all these 3 storage accounts parallelly. It's a parallel creation. All these 3 things are going parallelly out here as such. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here?
Sir, we have given that length of
Right.
this visual code. If you write there count of 4 or 5, if
Hmm.
it will be performed that we have only given the 3 accounts, right? Storage accounts. It will
Okay.
be getting error, any error.
Yeah, it
If
will give you the
we
error.
count 5.
For the, yes, it will definitely throw the error because on the 0, 1, 2, third time, on the fourth time, there is no account at all. So it'll simply tell, okay, fine, the account name is coming and it'll tell you the account name is a blank value. You cannot have a blank value and it'll fail. So very simply, it will fail. That's the reason I'm
It will
relying
be
upon the
goes to
length of
again
this one.
first one again or
No, it
like
won't
that.
go to the first one. No, it won't go to the first one. Why will it go to the first one? So because copy index 0 is what? This one. Copy index 1 is what? This one. Copy index 2. This is your 3. If 3, then what it is? There is nothing. It's a null value. So it's trying to create a storage account with a blank name. It'll fail. It'll simply tell that, you know what, storage account with blank name cannot exist. I'm sorry, I'll fail. Getting the point?
But the 3 storage account will be created.
This 3 storage
If we
account will
give
be
5.
created. See, the template should fail in validation only. So the template will all
Okay.
likely fail in validation because when it's validating, it will see what is the fourth name or the fifth name and it will fail there. So even those 3 storage accounts won't be created. Yes. Mhm. Okay. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Yes. Okay. Yes, we added the fourth round. Mhm. Right. Hmm. Let's see. Let's see how it behaves. I added the fourth one. Okay. Before I go, anyone. So the question here is that I added the fourth one right now. Now, if I redeploy it, what will happen to the remaining 3? Will it override this? Will it recreate them? What exactly is going to happen?
It won't
Anyone?
take
Can
action.
anyone
It
answer?
will update it.
It will override it.
Sorry,
It
it will
won't take.
override.
Since
It
name
won't
should
take.
be unique now,
Mhm.
so it's already exist
And it
now,
should
so it
be.
won't.
So it should fail.
No, as it is in the same region, it will override it.
At the same
Yeah,
region, it
because
will
of
override it.
incremental nature.
Okay, but what is it going to override? What property is it going to override? Which property of those three storage accounts is it going to override? Did I do any property change here? No property change. Very
No
simple.
problem.
It won't even touch these storage accounts. It'll just check whether what you're defining in the template and what is there in the portal, are they matching each other? Yes. Then it'll come to the fourth. It'll say, okay, fine, you know what? This storage account actually is not there in the portal. So let me recreate it. So very simple. If you just take this out, just take this template, just come here and just go to your deploy custom template and say build your own template or here, load the file, copy index 2. I'll say same again, resource group. I'll say review and create this out. So no matter what, how many times you deploy this template, it will simply go ahead do an incremental approach. This is something that's called as an incremental approach out here. You'll check whether the previous groups, previous storage accounts are already existing. If it is yes, it'll just validate them, move forward, create what is not there. So it is reusable in nature. You can take it, throw it as many times. If you see this, all these three storage account status are okay. It's telling okay, fine, these are all good. There is nothing to update. Fourth one I'm accepting right now. Let me take that. I'll create this out. No change in your template whatsoever. There's only one change that I added, which is in the parameter section. I said, okay, fine, you know what? Give me one more storage account out there. That's it. I went ahead and I'm now deploying this out and done. Mhm. Right. Hmm. No problem. Nothing's gonna happen to your data. No. Store. It's only the parent properties it's going to look at. All these properties is what it's going to look at. So you're not going to lose data. So your data will be intact. It won't even touch the data. So I'll simply look at the parent properties, say, okay, fine, this is what it is. ARM template doesn't even mind what data you have. So it'll say, okay, fine, I'm not even looking at a container because there is nothing that about container you mentioned out here. So I'll say, I'm not even looking at your container. It'll move forward and it now recreated the fourth storage account for me out here as such. Yes, you can reuse it as many as times possible, not a problem. Yes, so it won't throw the error because you haven't changed any property. If you would have changed something like the region or something, then it would have thrown the error, telling that you know what, same storage account with this name cannot be created in a different region. Yes, that's expected, but no change in the property, nothing. You just go ahead, validate the existing, and recreate a new one out there as such.
If it is different RG, then what will
If it's different RG, you tell me what it'll do. You'll simply throw the error. Very simple, because name is global. So it's trying
yeah
to recreate a new storage account in a different RG. You'll simply throw the error telling that you know what, the storage account already exists in a different resource group. I'm sorry, I cannot create this out.
yeah.
Yes. Any more questions here? Are we comfortable with this template? Telling demo storage something like this and all that stuff. Anyone? Any questions that you that I can take? All right. So
Sir,
let's look at one more example then. See, I've created 4 different storage accounts right now using one single template. Again, just a second. Guys, can you please go on mute? Okay, Pavni, can you please go on mute if you do not have a question, please? All right. So we have 4 different, let's say, storage accounts. Now, if your client wants to update something, all he needs to do is just come here, add one more storage account, redeploy this, done. That's it. Reusable templates. But again, the issue with this template is this. It's that See, all my 4 storage accounts are having the same properties, meaning they are created in the same location, same SKU, everything is the same. But now, let's say I have 4 storage accounts called demo store ABC, dev ARM, something like this. I'll say demo store ABC, QA ARM, demo store ABC, DevOps ARM. Now, I want this particular storage account called dev storage account to be created in a location called EastUS2, because my developers are all a part of, let's say, EastUS2. They're working from EastUS. So I want this here. And this should be standard LRS. The tag values also should be, let's say, unique. So you can also consider tags and all that stuff. So not a problem. Let's say this storage account called QA needs to be in central US. A different SKU called standard underscore GRS. This storage account called DevOps should be in North Europe. And here it should be something like standard underscore RAGRs. So I'm talking about different properties right now, different objects right now, meaning different storages, different properties. I cannot have a single property out here. So if I were to approach this manually, I'd say ARM, I would say ARM hyphen storage, RHE storage. I'll say this is storage one. Property here would be something like standard LRS. And the location here would be EastUS2. This would be standard. I'll put a comma here. I'll say ARM hyphen storage. This is storage 2, my storage account 2. Property here is not LRS, this is GRS. And this is standard again. And location here would be central US or something like that, whichever location that you have. Something like central US. Because location is also changing. Multiple things are changing. Now, if I want the third storage, I'll again same do comma, put ARM hyphen storage, put the same property again. But this is a manual approach, because as and when you have new storage accounts, you will have to tell your client that, hey, you know what, wait, I'll have to, let's say, put one more storage out here. So let me go and do that, which is not really, let's say fine, which is not for me fine at all. Reason being, again, I'm coming back to the same manual approach where I'm, let's say, putting multiple blocks for multiple storage accounts out there. Why can't I not use a copy index? Why can't I not use, let's say, a copy index out here? And definitely do that. That's what I'm getting down to, is that I don't need all these things. Let me come down. Let me check this out. Let me come down into my parameters. Now I'll give a new parameter called storage properties. Okay, let me put something called new parameter. I'll say storage properties. You can give anything here, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever it is, not a problem. But since I'm declaring the properties of a storage account, I'm saying storage properties or configuration or whatever it is. You can also do this as configuration. Let's put that configuration as such. Type here again becoming an array with a default value. And the last time, if you remember, we declared a default value as 3 or 4 different names out here. But now it's just not the name. It's name, location, SKU, and all these things. So I'll say a JSON object inside this, and I'll say storage name, key value pairs right now. And I'll say storage name is my dev, something like this. Place it here. I'll say location. I'll say this is in ECUS2. I'll say SKU. I'll say the SKU here is standard underscore LRS. This is the first object. Inside the same array, you can put a comma, literally declare my second object out here, saying that this is QA, this is central US, and this is standard underscore GRS. I can literally have my DevOps here. I'll put a third object, put a comma, third object out here. I'll say this is QA. Instead of QA, I'll say this is DevOps. Again, some random unique name that I'm placing out here. And let's see, this becomes a little bit, let's say, tricky. Yes, DevOps, something like this. And here, I'll say this is North Europe. Let's say this is RAGRS. Read access geo redundant storage out here. So three different objects here. Now three different properties. I'll say storage account properties block. Something like this. Some random name out here. I'll just scroll down. I'll say this is ARM hyphen storage. Same thing. I'm putting the same block. And what should now be the name, guys? What should be the name here of the storage account? What should I declare the name as?
Default value.
I'm sorry, default value. Default value of what? The configuration. Default
Configuration.
value. Configuration, and what is configuration? It's a parameter.
Parameter.
Can I say it is parameters configuration? Same thing. Last time what I did, I gave storage account names. I said parameter storage account names. Right? This is what I did. And again, you get the error telling that
Copy
the
index.
it's an array. You will have to give exactly copy index. I'll say copy index, and it's still giving me the error telling that, you know what, again, type is a string, but you're giving me the array. Why is it telling again here's type is a string and you're giving me the array here? I put a copy index, right? And again, type here becoming
Copy
string and all that.
properties.
Count.
Copy
Properties.
properties. Okay, properties. Okay, what do we mean by copy properties out here? See, the last time when I put a copy index, what it was doing, copy index 0 become what? This particular value. Okay, let me change the color. Copy index 0 became what? Storage account 1. Copy index 1 became what? Storage account 2.
2.
Copy index 2 became storage account 3. Copy index 3 became storage account
4.
4. If I apply the same logic, just come back, just place it here, just scroll down. Now copy index is 0. What do you think is copy index 0 right now? Is this just this one? This entire one, which is 0, meaning the entire JSON object. Next one, this entire JSON object. 2, this entire JSON object out here. But for the name, I don't need this entire thing. I don't need this entire thing out here. I just need to tell that, you know what, yes, this is 0, but this is 0 and just the storage name. This is what I want. This is just the isolated property that I want. So what I'll do is I'll come here and I'll say, yes, this is copy index, right? But after copy index, I'll say dot storage name. This is the property that I have called storage name out here. So I'm not doing copy index of everything. I'm doing copy index of storage name out here. Now see, it goes to the configuration. You'll say, okay, fine. Let me say this is 0, assuming this is 0. It's saying 0, but dot storage name. So it says, okay, fine. Okay, you only want this property. I'll give you this property. It'll say 1. Let's say I'll go into this one. It's a dot storage name. He'll say this is QA storage name out here. So it's not iterating over the entire loop right now or entire block right now, but a single property. And again, I'll just put my copy loop here. I'll say copy. I'll say the name is something like storage advanced. And I'll say the count here is length of parameters storage configuration. This is what I do have. So I have parameters configuration copy index dot storage name. Let's scroll down. I'll remove the tags. Location. What should be the location right now? Is it just East US 2? Is it Central US? Is it North Europe? What should be the location right now?
Same logic
Or how should
applied for storage name.
I'm sorry? Come again, please.
As parameter
Parameters.
configuration copy index dot location.
Location. Exactly. Same thing, but in place of, let's say, storage name, I'll pass it as dot location. So now it is telling, okay, fine. 0 of location is East US, 1 of location is Central US, 2 of location is North Europe. Again, same thing I'll apply for this particular property as well. Not this one. Okay. I'll just copy this entire thing. This is here. Instead of location, I'll now say it is SKU right now. Because here I have a property called SKU that I declared, and this is standard. This is now standard out here as such. So these are the things that I have now declared. I'll just say save. I'll say advanced copy. Take the JSON file, save this out. Let's go back into our, let's say, portal. I'll say deploy a custom template. I'll just say build your own template. Say load the file, advanced copy. I'll just save. Scroll down. I'll create a new resource group. I'll say advanced copy. Okay. Okay. Central use or east use to whatever it is. I'll say review and create this out. In this also we have manual intervention while deploying it out. Yes. While writing the script, when you say this one, but yes, this is one time process. This is a one time process out here. Again, you need a new storage account, you need a new block. There should be at least one input parameter, right? There should be at least one input where you are giving this out. But yes, it has to be manual intervention. You'll have to place the name somewhere. You have to tell somewhere, you'll have to place the name out here. Hmm. Okay. Not at all. If it's a fourth parameter, just copy paste. That's it. It's already there. This block is already there. I'm not changing this block. I'm not going to now change this block out here. So the value is already there. And now this is what it does. It creates all the 3 storage accounts like the way it was doing earlier. But now each and every storage account has unique properties out here associated with it. It's just not one simple storage. 3 different storages, 3 different properties, 3 different locations. So you can, let's say, go ahead and do this out here. So let's wait for a minute to complete this out. Again, just take a minute, and once it's done, it's going ahead, it's telling okay, fine, it's all okay and all that stuff. So it's creating each and every resource. Let's go to the resource group. Let's wait for a minute, and let's refresh our screens and let's check this out. So demo something storage something is created in dev. Let's say it's in East US, Central US, North Europe, and this dev storage account should have something called LRS. The QA storage account should have something like GRS. Location is different. The DevOps storage account should have an RAGRS. Location is also different. So you can have multiple properties, place them into this particular loop, and just run one simple block, which will take care of all these things out. Yes, any more questions here? Anyone, any questions here?
Sir, if we
Anyone, any
keep on
question?
increasing the list,
Mm-hmm.
if we keep on
This,
increasing the list, means we should mention the parameter block only, right? There is no option
yes,
now.
you should be adding in the parameter block only, correct. This is the block where you need to
But
add it out.
there are 20 resource groups, sorry, storage accounts are there. We need to mention the parameter block. There is no option.
Correct. There is an option, yes. You have to mention it in the parameter block.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, any more questions, guys? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take? Anyone, any questions I can take till here?
Sir,
Go ahead, please.
sir, uh,
Go ahead, Pavni.
if we if we remove the default value like an array in PowerShell, can we pass different storage account names separated by commas?
When you say, okay, I didn't get your question. Can you come again, please?
If we remove the entire block of default values, we didn't mention any storage account names, location, and SKU names.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, in the portal, when it asks the storage name, can we give the
Mm-hmm.
different storage account names and locations separated by commas, like in PowerShell read host statement?
Like in PowerShell, again, see the input parameter is a little different out here because this is now a JSON body, right? So if I load this file, say advanced copy, your input should be something like this. It should be a JSON object only. Your input cannot be a comma separated value. If it's a comma separated value, it's going to fail. Yes, it's a comma separated value, but yes, inside something known as a JSON array. So you'll have to pass this entire object. You'll have to pass this entire object as an input, something like this. Storage name, comma, something, and then so on and so forth. So it's a comma separated value that you need to do. So storage name, and then the name of that particular storage, name one, comma, the location, the SKU, and all that stuff. Location, and then comma, and then so on and so forth. So I will have to give it as a JSON object only. I cannot just do a comma separated pair. I just cannot go ahead and give a comma separated value out here. Yes, anyone, any more questions out here? Anyone, any questions still here? One cross question out here then. Did we try creating or did you all try creating a container inside a storage account like the way I was asking yesterday? So yesterday's assignment was that create a storage account, create a container inside it. Did we try that? Did we try creating a simple storage container inside it? Did we see how
No,
it gets created? Yes, no, maybe.
no.
Okay, okay, let's see. Let's do that. If we want to create a container, again, I'll just say go ahead, give you the code. I'm not executing it, but I'll say how it's created. So let's remove the functions and let's see. Firstly, I want to create a storage account. So I'll say arm-storage. After that, I want to go ahead create something known as a container. So I'll say arm-storage blob-container. Now storage account name, again I can parameterize this. I can say new parameter, storage name. And here I can use that particular parameter called parameters storage name. Again, a simple storage account, no copy index, nothing out here. I'll say this is a premium LRS or standard LRS, whatever it is. Now, this is what you have for a container. See, the container is telling you a couple of things, telling that you know what, I need a name to be something like this. You need your storage account name with a default, and then you can, or then you should go ahead and pass your container name out here. Let's say the container name is test container. So what we are going to do here is this. This is the exact format that you need to pass. The storage account name / default / your container name out here, which means something like this. Let's say a storage name, I don't have a storage name out here, it's a parameter. So what I'll do, I'll remove this entire thing. I'll say concat, because I need to add three different things: storage name, default, and then something like that. So I'll say concat, and I'll say the very first thing I want to concat is parameters storage account name, comma. Then I need a / default and then a /. So I'll say default, comma, the name of the container, which is test container. Your container name is also a parameter. You can say it is comma, new parameter container name. And here, instead of telling this is test container, you can call something known as a container name out here. This is how you need to pass it. And also, there is something called as a dependency. Now you have to tell that, you know what, which resource needs to be created first. By default, ARM template is going to go ahead and create everything parallelly. If you create all these things parallelly, you cannot create a container without a storage account existing prior. You need a storage account out here. So what it does, it puts something known as a depends on clause, when it's telling the container should only be created if this particular storage account with this name. Again, here you have an account name. I'll say parameters storage name out here as such. So now I'm telling only if this resource is created, please go ahead and create my container in a public access level called none. Here represents private, blob represents blob, container represents a container out here as such. So now I'm telling, okay, fine, this is what it is, and this is how I go ahead and create a container. So if I just look at this, a storage account and a container inside this particular storage account out here. So this is how I go ahead and create a container. Not executing this, I'm just telling you all how to create it. I want you all to create it. I've given you an overview of how to create it out. You have the documentation, you have the idea, go ahead, create this out. Just see if you are able to create one storage account, one container. Great. What if I want one storage account, 10 containers inside it? Let's say test container 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Can we do something like a copy indexing out here? Can we see how the copy index really works out here as such?
What is the
Yes, any
default
question?
that is?
That's the syntax. You have to give this default out here. This is the syntax. You'll have to follow this particular syntax out here. It's called as a default context. So in order to associate a container with a storage account, you have to give this. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone? Any questions still here that I can take? All right, so the assignment here is again storage account and a container. If you're able to do that, one storage account, can you create, let's say, about 3 or 4 containers inside that? Number is up to you, but can you iterate the number of containers out here, like test container 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth? Just try that out. Let me know how can I help you all with this. All right, thanks guys, and have a good day ahead. Thank you.